and suffer a significant decline in overall sense of security. Numerous people have been killed and their mutilated body have been recovered, showing signs of organ harvesting. Mr. Speaker, deeply saddened that by the recent increase in the number of victims, including Mr. Sylvester and his mother, Mr. Kingsley Okobo, Mr. Odion Onomwemi, Mr. Ahere, Mrs. Margaret Akbar, Mr. Monday Ika, Mr. Ebo, Mr. Hiawi, the chairman of the Tippers Association Drivers Association, Madam Sokoto, Miss Peace.
Hey. You're disconnected.
Mr. Victor and his wife, Mr. Samuel Inedegbo, Miss Faith, an undergraduate student who is still in the hospital. 16-year-old Becky, who remains traumatized after being raped and mishandled, and 3 youth corps members, among numerous others. It is pertinent to also mention that some of these victims were killed despite ransom having been paid. Mr. Speaker, the House is concerned that these criminals operate predominantly along the railroad from Uzea to Ugboha, Amedokia in Uromi, Udo, Eko Ibadi, and Ubiaja to Ewohimi in the Eastern Northeast and Southeast Federal Constituency of Edo State, and have escalated their activities to include kidnapping people in their homes. Mr. Speaker, the House deeply recognizes the commendable effort of His Excellency Senator Monday Okpebholo, the Executive Governor of Edo State, for his innovative actions, including the establishment of Joint Security Task Force named Operation Rescue, to address the escalating insecurity across the state. This initiative by the governor includes the purchase and empowerment of security vehicles and other gadgets across the state, as well as the restructuring of the Edo State Security Corps to strengthen community-based security measures, which have started yielding positive results. The House is concerned that the paramount need for the House of Representatives to uphold its commitments.
Order, please. Honorable Cyril, Chairman, House Services. Cairo, please, can you find your seats? Honorable Victor.
Conscious of the paramount need of the House of Representatives to uphold its commitment to safeguarding the lives and well-being of our constituents in alignment with the primary purpose of governance as enshrined in our Constitution, the House do so resolve that 1, call for a minute silence in honor of those who have lost their lives due to this menace. 2, urge the federal government to direct the State Department of State Security, DSS, and the Nigerian Army, the Nigeria Police Force, and other relevant security agencies to conduct an intensive investigation to curb these nefarious activities and to foster synergy among the security agencies and relevant stakeholders to effectively address the trend of insecurity in the Eastern Northeast and Southeast Federal Constituency of Edo State. 3, also urge the federal government, through the Defense Headquarters, to establish a military base in Uromi, Eastern Northeast Local Government Council, to enhance security presence and response capability in the region. And 4, lastly, mandate the committees on defense, army, national security and intelligence, police, and legislative compliance to ensure compliance and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, I so move.
Njenje.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Your Excellency. Honorable colleagues, Nnamdi Ezechi is my name, and I represent Ndokwa Okwani Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, before seconding this motion, I want to draw the attention of this House that virtually every week in this Alo chamber.
Please, second. We recognize you to second, not to contribute.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, has already introduced my name. I stand here to second the motion ably moved by my dear brother, Prince Okoje. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committees on Defense, Army, National Security and Intelligence, and Police for further legislative action. Shall we please rise for a minute silence? Honorable colleagues, the next motion is coming from Honorable Barrister Mohammed Bello Shehu. If Honorable Bello is around, please, can you rise and move your motion?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished honorable colleagues, my name is Barrister Mohammed Bello Shehu, representing the people of Fege Federal Constituency from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to move this motion of matter of urgent public importance pursuant to the standing orders of this House of Representatives, Order 8, Rule 5, on the urgent need to rehabilitate the oil and gas pipeline networks across Nigeria to avert further economic loss for the country. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Tafoki.
The Right Honorable Speaker, sir, very distinguished colleagues, I remain Honorable Shehu Dalhatu Tafoki, representing Paskari Kankara Sabua. I'm from Katsina State. I rise to second the first leg of the motion, ably moved by Member Representative Pagi from Kano State. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Second leg, Honorable Shagaya.
The Right Honorable Speaker, my respected colleagues, I remain Honorable Mukhtar Tolani Shagaya, representing Nigerians, starting from Ilorin West, Asa, Federal Constituency of Kwara State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the second leg of the motion as ably moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Bello, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. The House note that Nigeria's oil and gas sector remains the backbone of the national economy, contributing approximately 9% to the gross domestic product and generating over 90% of export revenues. The effective transportation of petroleum resources is dependent on the integrity of the country's pipeline infrastructure, Mr. Speaker. Note that between 2018 and 2023, Nigeria recorded over 7,000 incidents of pipeline vandalism, resulting in the loss of $12.74 million worth of crude oil. Aware that in October 2024, crude oil supply to Shell's Forcados terminal was reduced by 50% due to sabotage, leading to loading delays and risks of force majeure declarations. Concerned that in January 2025, Mr. Speaker, a major pipeline spill from a facility owned by Shell Nigeria subsidiary caused environmental devastation in the Niger Delta, worsening pollution and economic hardship for host communities. Further concerned that in February 2025, Shell reported an oil spill near Port Harcourt caused by an overflow during pipeline flushing operations, highlighting ongoing risks in pipeline management. Recognize that recurring pipeline breaches have led to extensive environmental degradation, loss of livelihoods, and substantial national revenue losses, further straining the country's economy and security landscape. Further recognize that the Niger Delta region has suffered from decades of oil spills, causing severe health hazards, destruction of farmlands, and contamination of water sources, thereby exacerbating poverty among local communities. Observe that the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited has intensified efforts to combat crude oil theft, uncovering 19 illegal pipeline connections and 58 illegal refineries in a single week in January 2025. Believe that the deterioration of oil and gas pipeline network not only threatens Nigeria's energy security, but also undermines the country's potential for sustainable economic development. Resolved to constitute an ad hoc committee to A, investigate the state of oil and gas pipeline across Nigeria, including the causes and impact of frequent vandalization and operational failures. B, assess the adequacy of existing security and maintenance measures in safeguarding national petroleum infrastructure. C, examine effectiveness of past and present government interventions aimed at protecting pipelines. D, engage stakeholders including NNPCL, Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, national security agencies, oil companies, host communities, and civil society organizations to recommend sustainable solutions. E, direct the ad hoc committee, when set up, to report its findings and recommendations to the House within 4 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Amendment.
Let's get a
Amendment.
seconder first.
Mr. Speaker, amendment.
Yeah, I will give you
Mr.
the
Speaker.
opportunity. Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Speaker, amendment.
Is it Raji?
What do you mean there's no amendment?
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, amendment, please.
No, let's get a seconder. I will give you the opportunity to make your contribution.
Excellency, Mr. Speaker, my name is Akmoni Clement Ademola. I represent Ila Buluwaduro, Ifedra Federal Constituency of Osun State. I rise to second the motion as moved by my friend. I so second.
Mr. Speaker, amendment. Mr. Speaker, amendment.
Who is proposing for amendment?
Honorable Koji.
Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues. My name is Honorable Prince Henry Odianose Okoje. I represent the good people of Eastern, Northeast, and Southeast Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, the motion raised by my colleague is a good motion, but you will recall that there is a committee, a standing committee in the House, the Petroleum Resources Committee on Midstream. The purview of that committee oversight all the pipeline in this country. So I don't see any reason why he will be calling for an ad hoc committee when there is a standing committee in the House. That is my amendment, Mr. Speaker. I recommend that the motion should be referred to the standing committee in the House. Thank you, sir.
What I want to know is that the investigation, does it affect only one committee or it cuts across so many committees? Maybe the sponsor can highlight. Is the investigation limited to the jurisdiction of one committee or it cut across so many?
Mr. Speaker, it cut across committees.